Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into KT Garage. Welcome to another episode of the Super Hawk build. This is episode 49. So the weekend is here. I'm getting super excited again. Now the plan for today is I'm gonna swap out the winch rope. I'll tell you what happened and why I'm swapping it out. And then after that, I'm gonna start working on electrical. I keep saying that I'm going to work on electrical, and then I keep delaying because I don't want to. It's just a pain, but I think this is it. I got to go and deal with it. So that's coming later on today. I'll get things started. We'll keep you guys posted. Okay, guys, so in the last episode, at the end of the episode, I showed you guys this bracket. So this morning, I went ahead and get the bracket installed. So you can see the control center is actually flipped 90 degrees just because I don't have enough cable length to come down and then come up here. So if I mount it horizontally, the wire's not long enough. So I ended up having to flip it. So now this is misaligned. It's not like out here. So I gotta get the control wire in here and then loop it out here every time I use it, which is fine. It's better to be back there anyway. It's tucked in and it's not visible from outside. So that part is done. Now, if you notice last time when I tried to wind these cables, or even looking at this cable right here, I made a mistake of ordering 1/4 inch rope. And these are only rated for like 10,000 pounds or something like that, which I will need a lot more for winching this truck in case it gets stuck out in the mud. So I went ahead and ordered the 3/8 inch rope. So these are rated for 25,000 pounds. It's plenty. This truck's supposed to weigh only about 8,000 to 9,000 pounds altogether, the way that I had it on the computer model. So it should be under 10,000 pounds. So this should be good. Now I'm just gonna get the rope swapped out since I already get that other thing in there, which is not that big of a deal because now I can hook it up and use the power winch to get it in and out. Well guys, I just rigged this up temporarily. I'm still gonna use the cables, the jumper cables, to hook up to the system because my positive and negative cable is not hooked up there yet. I want to get the rest of the truck hooked up before I'm getting the winch hooked up. So now I'm just gonna get the negative and the positive terminals hooked up just so I can operate the winch. And you can see this is the controller that goes into this box, and then you can see this is where I hooked it up. It's pretty tight, but it's all right. I got it working. All right, I got the new rope in, it's looking great. So the new rope, you can definitely see that these are much thicker. They'll handle 27,000 pounds, I think. So awesome. And look at the capacity of this winch at 12,000 pounds. So we are good as far as rope goes. Things nice and clean. So I took this aside for now. It'll get routed to the side and then up in the battery with a big fuse later. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first is trying to restore this speedometer because it's looked like it's seen better days. To remove the cable was like really simple. You just like back this nut out and you just pull it straight out. So that's the cable. I'm gonna set that aside. And then with this right here, somehow I need to like disassemble this whole thing so I can get to the inside and clean everything up. So I'm thinking I'll just take this two nuts, these two screws out. Don't know if I need to take this two out or not. I'm just gonna take this, see if I can just pull the whole thing out. Okay, so as it turns out, you can't really remove the front part of it from back here. So the only way to remove it is, you see this lips right here. I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver and start to deform the lips, spread it, get it out. That's the only way. So I'm gonna go ahead and, this is gonna take me a while because I'm gonna take it easy, try to deform all of this so I can get it out. So what you wanna do is find a flat piece of metal, aluminum or whatever, and just so you can match what a gap is, get a little screwdriver. Don't use the big one. The smaller one works better. And you kind of stick it in. Use this as leverage. Push it as far down as you can, and then just turn the lip to permanently deform it. And you got to go around until you completely deform it and get it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep working on it. Okay, so after you deform them a little bit, you're able to get in between the lips. You can see that I got inside the lips. I got a few screwdrivers here, and at this point I can use the lip as leverage to try to deform the metal. You can see that it's already starting to try to come out. Well, check this out, guys. Look like there's sand on here, all kinds of. This Humvee definitely been in the desert because I've seen a lot of sand in here. And then the seal didn't work very well, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean them all up, and then we'll put some silicone seals on it. Make sure water doesn't get in again. There you go. Now be careful, guys. The screwdriver got me. I should have wear gloves, but oh well. So first thing I'm going to do is get the seals off. It's really old, and it cracked and everything, so not sure how I'm going to replace this just yet, but let's just separate it. Get all this clean out in here. Give this a good cleaning, clean the gauge, and then we'll assemble everything back. All right, so I use the rubbing alcohol, try to clean as much as I can, and then I use the Armor All, of course, trying to just restore it. Now you can see that these are already been oxidized, and there's not much I can do about it, but it does look a lot better. And I tested the needle is still working. I can rotate it back and you can see it's working just fine. So at this point, I'm going to try to put this thing back together. I painted the ring, let it dry for a few hours. Look like it's completely dry now, so I can go ahead and get it reassembled. Now the glass, I mean, it cleaned up pretty good. I use Windex, of course. These are really good for glass. So now I'm not going to be able to reuse this seal, of course. It's really bad. So what I'm thinking about is using these double-sided tape, and I'm just going to tape around the ring and then just use that as a seal. I think it's going to work just fine. Well, here we go, guys. This tapes is in. So it's gonna look something like that. Perfect. Now I get the glass in. Look like it's sealed really well. Let's see if this is still working. Yep. Okay, now we're gonna put this ring back. Oh, I can see some tape. So I have to go and trim this tape over here because you can visually see from the outside. Okay, I think we're good now. I moved the tape further in a little bit so you can't see it in the outside. Put trim rings on. So it needs a little bit of persuasion, but it came in. So now you just kind of take your time, find something flat, and then just knock all the edges back down. Well guys, I think it's done. Now back here, it doesn't look good, but it's okay because you're gonna be installing it in this way. So, not too bad. I'm gonna get this back in the pot. Well, here it is, guys. I gotta put back in. So now this gauge is looking a lot cleaner than these ones. So I don't know, should I go ahead and restore all of these or not? It's just a pain to deal with. I think for the time being, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, and maybe just clean the glass outside a little bit better. Hopefully it doesn't look as bad. What I like about the Humvees, a lot of these things are all mechanical. So this is a cable for the speedometer. You can see if I spin on one side, it's gonna spin on the other side. So this side goes to the speedometer, this goes to the transmission. It's super simple. Okay, so it's kind of a mess right now. You can see that I got the wire harness in. First thing I wanted to do is just loop all this wire through this opening right here so I can start bolting this to this panel. This panel is gonna go up there. So that's my first objective, just to get this portion mounted. And then we'll figure out where the rest of all this stuff goes. Okay, so I got the dash in. And guys, this is the reason why I don't want to start on electrical. Look at all this mess. So I gotta find out where everything goes. Most of it is just like hooking up to what's up here. Like this here needs to be hooked up, that needs to be hooked up. It's all plug and play, so it's not all that bad. And this thing right here that I didn't know what it was before, this is the for the brakes, for the brake lights. So it's just like a little linkage that trigger the light for the brakes. So it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it's like a huge mess. I gotta tuck it in somehow. And then out here you see cables that's gonna go to the back end. So that's not that big of a deal. It's just tail lights and trailer hookup, stuff like that. So you can see this wire right here, that's the speedometer cable. So that's already been hooked up. So it's come out and then it'll get hooked up down here. See if I can show you guys. Yeah, you see this piece over here? That's where it's gonna get hooked up to. It goes directly down to the transmission. Well guys, I wanted to test the cable for this speedometer, see if it's working fine. So what I do is I just hook up this drill to the cable and then see if I can get it rotating. You see that the speedometer cable is working just fine. So there we go. Okay, so the dash is fully assembled. Just give you guys a shot from this angle. Looking really cool. I like it. Oh guys, things are looking a lot better in here. I got the panel secured. I looped the wire. So this wire goes that way and up. You can see there's a hanger there that hang all the way from the top down. So that stays where it is. See, there's the electrical box is there, or the engine control box. All this stuff down here still need to be mounted, but it's getting there. It took me several hours just to loop all these wires around, and then you see this down here. I'm gonna cut a hole somewhere here, and then gets this through the other side, because this is the rest of the stuff that goes out back, and then some of it goes to the engine bay. So I'm just trying to work with what's in here first, and then we'll get this into the metal. Well, I got quite a bit more done, guys. Check this out. So that's the weight for the glow plug, brakes. I got the starter button on. So that's wait for glow plug, start. All the light controls are here. Everything has been installed. Let me see here. I'm not sure what this does, but there's a hookup for it. You can see it's got an electrical connection. I already hooked it up. I bolted on there. And then everything has already been installed except for the trigger for the brakes. So I'm gonna do that next week. And then over here, there's just a couple of things I need to mount. And then I'm quite done here. And then next week, I'm gonna deal with this wire right here. I'm gonna cut a hole right there and then get it through and get one line to the front, one to the back. And then I'm kind of done here in this area. Looking great. I like it. Well, it's late Sunday night. Time to call it quit. Come inside and get some rest. Next weekend, I'm just going to continue working on electrical, finish it up. I think I'm going to need a couple of more weeks on the electrical to get it completed, and then we'll move on to something else. Be sure to check next weekend for another episode of the Super Hawk. I appreciate you guys tuning in to KT Garage. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. Thank you.